the Porsche Club Classic Restoracing Championship. Very warm welcome to Brands Hatch, the third event of the 2019 Classic Restoracing Championship, part of the massive Deutsche Festival here at Brands Hatch.
Scott, good to catch up with you in the Cardiff car. Tell us how this drive came about.
It came about, we were technicians on the car last year, and the opportunity arose because the person driving last year is no longer with the company, even though it was a good experience for us. So there's three of us in the running, and I finally got chosen to drive the car, so brilliant. Yeah, great to be in the car. Great experience you won't get anywhere else.
Mark, first season driver I understand in the Glasgow car.
Yes, it's my second outing, and we raced at Donington. My companion Derek raced the GP circuit here last time, so I'm back out this time, so second time in the car. Fantastic opportunity to race in this iconic track like this. It was a dream coming true for me really, so motorsport family, so I've always been interested in motorsport, so it's good.
Tell us a little bit more about that background.
Well, my father raced motorbikes and then raced cars, so the early part of our lives we were kind of around all the tracks, Brands Hatch, Donington, from coming from Scotland, and then I raced junior motocross, was 10-year-old till I was about 18, then went road racing on a motorbike for a couple of races, so it's in the blood. And also my nephew races go-karts as well, so a third generation of racers. So.
Paul, a brand newcomer to racing this year, I gather. Tell us about your experiences so far in Restoracing.
My job was to spray the car, so yeah, I'm not a mechanic or anything like that. So I was given the project to spray it all up, and no track experience whatsoever. I've not done any experience days or track days, anything like that. I have a passion for motorsport, and my first race was at the beginning of the month on May the 4th on GP at Brands. Pretty cool. It was I got 8th and the second race in Brands Hatch 2nd. So I was absolutely gobsmacked.
Cars on the grid ready for our first of two races for the Porsche Club Championship Classic Restoracing Championship, and it's the leader in the standings, Ben McLaughlin, who's on pole position from the returning Josh Morris. William Heslop third from Matt Bird, then it is Ollie Coles, Paul Blakesley on row 3, Mark McCulloch next up in the 22 car, the Porsche Centre Hatfield machine from Stephen Shaw and Julian Morris, then it's Simon Ruffle-Ward, Sam Beckett, Mark Duncan, Scott Adams, Ashley White and Carl Hazelton completing the grid. Great start in green, and a problem there. Ollie Coles was moving, I think, looking to the outside line, got tagged by another car and has hit the barrier. That's in a prone position. I was starting to pick out the great start by Paul Blakesley in green from 6 on the grid, and he's much further to the front than that now as the cars go up around Druids. The hairpin for the first time. It's Ben McLaughlin leading. Second place is Josh Morris, and Paul Blakesley from 6 on the grid is third. And coming under pressure from William Heslop, who's going to look in the pink pig on the inside line. Then it is Matt Bird, a spin for Ashley White. That's the Porsche Centre Nottingham car. Checking up very briefly there as well was Scott Adams in the Cardiff car. Scott, one of the men we heard from, as William Heslop looks round the outside line, sees the yellow flags. Very good reaction from William Heslop and all the drivers to seeing the full course caution, the yellow flags around the track, and they all check up and get back into the correct positions. Now, it may be, we've got Heslop now, William Heslop up into third, so it might be that Paul Blakesley perhaps repassed under a yellow and then seeded that back. We didn't see that was off camera, but good reaction nonetheless from all the drivers to understand what was going on. The safety car is for Ollie Coles, the Porsche Centre Swindon entry in the Coca-Cola livery. All these cars, of course, running classic Porsche liveries, and that's the reason why Ollie is out of the car and okay, which is the good news. The bad news, of course, the car can't be moved on its own. Now that's going to put a question mark as to whether we see Ollie for race 2. Ollie had, he's one of the front runners last year, had a retirement at Donington Park in race 2, so it's not the start to the season he wanted. We did see his form in race 1 on the Grand Prix circuit last time, round 3 of the championship, where he took 4th place, just shy of the podium. And hopefully we'll get a chance to hear his side of things a little bit later on. But Ben McLaughlin is the race leader. Josh Morris returning to the seat. Really good to see Josh. The Bolton car being looked after in the first 2 events of the season by Mike Thompson, who's done a good job. And Mike was 12th, 8th, 7th and 6th in his races, so the newcomer getting better and better as his racing went on. The Warsteiner livery there, that is Simon Ruffell Ward, his 2nd meeting of the year. Sam Tordoff, the British Touring Car driver's dad. And John, he had the car at round 1, scored a brace of top 10 finishes. So after the frenetic start, there were a lot of place swaps on the start. Things calmed down and they'll get the chance of another start behind the safety car, albeit in single file. Let's just have a quick look and see whether the clear-up is still ongoing, the clear-up. So Ollie Cole's car is still there. Ollie there, I think, talking to one of the rescue team members, and this might take a lap or so more to sort out and get that car back to the paddock and for the teams to have a brief look. But it's Ben McLaughlin, the leader, last year's can I say champion? Last year's champion's behind him, that's Josh Morris. Ben wasn't allowed to compete last year because of the extra experience being an ex-British GT driver. This year he is. The organisers have allowed the Bournemouth car into the championship, but Ben McLaughlin carries a fair bit of ballast, and that was upped from Donington Park the first round to the 2nd round. I need to check whether we've got extra ballast on board for Ben again, but that car has taken 4 wins, 2 outright wins of course here at Donington Park, and then 2 class wins because the cars ran as part of the Petro Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli here last time out on the Grand Prix circuit. The GP circuit licensed for a massive number of cars, and there was a huge grid, and as I mentioned, Ben taking both of the wins there. Paul Blakesley, as you heard in the interview, taking 2nd position in round 4. Good recovery from Ashley White in the Porsche Centre Nottingham car, and just ahead of him is Carl Hazelton. So Carl's done well. Carl is 4th in the championship, started off the back, had I think a breather pipe, came off in qualifying, didn't set a qualifying time, started at the back, made up two positions already. You can see Scott Adams and other drivers we spoke to at the start of the programme in the Porsche Centre Cardiff machine, the number 55. That's one of the cars that's not being shared to my knowledge over the course of the season. And safety car still out, and it looks like we're nearly ready to load up Ollie's car. Lights now out on the safety car, so we're ready to go racing here at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit. Round 5 of the Classic Restoracing Championship here at Brands Hatch. It's Ben McLaughlin, the leader, and Ben will be well versed at safety car restarts, and he's already gone. I think it's going to be a decent restart, not a fantastic one, and that's because the man chasing him, Josh Morris, was very much alert to that. William Heslop about to try and pop in a challenge for 2nd place, goes high and wide into Paddock Hill Bend. We go on board with Josh, look to the left, let's see whether Will Heslop, no, he's not there. The answer is actually going to try up the inside line, up Halewoods Hill, into Druids. Matt Bird in the 35 car, the Premier Panel Skills machine, having a good look at Paul Blakesley. We already know Paul's a front runner in his first season of racing. And a spin, that's the Glasgow car. Sadly, another of the drivers we spoke to goes off the circuit. Mark Duncan That was a fairly rapid spin, and I think has had a little bit of a hit onto the barrier as well. Could be our second retirement of the race. We'll wait and see whether Mark can get the car back. No, that's the skew, isn't it? So makes it around Druids and then down Graham Hill Bend onto the grass and into safety so as not to bring out the safety car once again. So well done, Mark, for recovering the car. But it is a second retirement of the season, sadly, for the Glasgow machine. We saw Derek Stewart racing it last time. That was on the Grand Prix circuit here at Brands Hatton. You can see it's brought some dirt onto the circuit, which the leaders will get to see for the first time. Positions as they were, with Will Heslop still busy chasing Josh Morris. The Premier Panel Skills car still in 5th, with Paul Blakesley in 4th place at the moment. This is Paul doing a grand job, as is Scott Adams, our newcomer in the Cardiff car. Has had one top 10 finish already in the championship in round 2 at Donington Park, so learning his trade exceptionally well. And of course the important thing is about how you do yourself, but how you represent. There's Ollie Cole's Coca-Cola car making its way back into pit lane, but how you represent the brand of the owning centre. There is Cole Hazelton. He's only got a 1-point lead over the Porsche Centre Nottingham car of Wayne Minogue and Ashley White in 46. So it was crucial for him to nip past that car in the early stages as the Premier Panel Skill cars gets stuck in again, challenging for 4th position there, and Paul Blakesley under a bit of pressure. At the moment it's Ben McLaughlin the leader, Josh Morris last year's champion in 2nd position, William Heslop a little bit further adrift than he would like to be. There is Carl Hazelton. Carl, now he was ahead of the Nottingham car, but it's recovered, hasn't it? So that battle for points between the 5th and 4th in the championship at the moment, it's the 5th position championship car of Ashley White has got the upper hand here as we head towards half distance in this race. Welcome back to Brands Hatch. This is round 5 of the 2019 Classic Restoracing Championship for the classic Porsche Boxsters with classic liveries as well. Great idea, superb initiative by Porsche to introduce this championship. There's an iconic livery if ever we saw one. It's Julian Morris in the Elite Motors Golf livery. That car virtually ever present in the top 10 apart from the retirement at Donington Park. We've got some dust and a green flag, which indicates there might be a yellow flag somewhere for somebody off track. We've also got a change of position with Paul Blakesley now behind Matt Bird. Scott Adams is okay. Now, if somebody's gone off, I'm hoping they've come back on. No, they haven't, because we've got a safety car. You can see the dust still settling as the race leaders go up in towards Druids. And there's confirmation of the safety car. Our hard-working marshals keeping everybody safe on track. And it's safety car time again for Ben McLaughlin. So McLaughlin's still leading from Josh Morris in 2nd place. That's the reason why it's Stephen Shaw, the Shawraid car. They are ace preparation specialists in terms of paintwork. Shawraid won co-won an award last year for the Fans' Choice, which was the Porsche Centre Wolverhampton car, the Pink Pig, currently in 3rd place. Lots of awards made out to encourage the centres to take part and to reward them for what they've done as well. Carl Hazelton still down behind Ashley White at the moment, and that could see those two, if it stays the same, those two will be tied in 4th position in the championship after this race. Mark McCulloch in the Porsche Centre Hatfield car. That's that car's first and Mark's first retirement, sadly. Looks out of harm's way. So I think it's Stephen Shaw's car, the one that's causing the issue at the moment. 2nd retirement of the year for Shawraid, which is a pity, as we ride on board very briefly with Josh Morris in the Bolton car, which, remember, won last year's championship. Championship introduced to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Boxster launch. 1997. That really does make me feel old that we've had Boxsters for 20 seasons, and they still provide great racing. You know, not only in this specification, which is near standard, more modified this year, but also, of course, the modified and uprated later models that we see racing in the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. So Carl Hazelton has a second bite. Those two guys have got a fair bit to do to try and close up on the rest of the field. For Ben McLaughlin, he is A, carrying extra weight, but B, has the lead that he'd eked out eroded away by the safety car, so a little bit frustrating for Ben, but I guess all fair in motor racing. Ultimately all playing to the same rules. There is 21 in 6th place is Sam Beckett, hesitating because I have to remember who the other drivers are, and that's the Porsche Centre Wilmslow car, which was raced by Alistair Nelson in the opening rounds of the year. Very quickly too, I might add. 4th and 3rd places at Donington Park for the Wilmslow car, but has dropped away championship-wise, just currently outside the top 6 of the standings. Josh Morris, of course, hoping to bring the Bolton car up into the upper echelons of the championship. Behind the Wilmslow car, we've got the Leeds machine of Simon Ruffell-Ward taking over duties from John Tordoff here at Brands last time and doing today's round. He's going to do a couple more before the end of the season as well. And then Julian Morris in the Elite Motors. In terms of we've got the Porsche centres that are involved, but also some of the bodywork preparation centres get involved as well. And Elite Motors one of those with Julian Morris. We've got the Premier Panel Skills car driven by Matt Bird today, also being raced by James Woods. And then the Shaw Raid car, we've already seen, sadly, Stephen Shaw out of the race. The driver's going to be a little bit frustrated that we've had 2 safety car interventions, but of course it's the right thing to do for the organisers because it keeps everybody safe on track. And again, if you look at the backs of the cars, you'll see the yellow square with the black cross, which indicates that they are new drivers to racing. So again, the initiative has been about getting the Porsche centres on track and encouraging new drivers. And as you've heard, we've had a number of drivers that are off the shop floor joining the championship. Lights around on the safety car. We are about to go classic Restoracing again, and it is going to be Ben McLaughlin, who I think has had a better restart this time. He's certainly put a little bit more space between himself and Josh Morris. Morris will be keen to try and deal with Will Heslop, but that was a great restart by Ben McLaughlin. The first one wasn't anything wrong with that, but that was even better. And he's got a good lead, and 2nd and 3rd are really keeping themselves occupied. Matt Bird is next up. Matt Bird in 4th place in the Premier Panel Skills car. The purple and green car has actually got the fastest lap of the race. So Matt, another driver with a little bit of experience, not necessarily too much driving these cars, but running well and closing in on a potential podium here. Now this will change the dynamic of the battle for 2nd place again, because the 3rd place car becomes the meat in the sandwich. Do you attack or do you defend, or do you keep a bit of both in mind? This is going to be interesting to see what Will Heslop does. Brace of 2nd places for Will. This is his 2nd meeting of the year. Christian Short, another quick driver, had the car last time out and had a 2nd and a 4th. Will Heslop bagging 2 2nd places in the opening round at Donington Park. Goes high and wide into Paddock Hill Bend, really putting the 2nd place man under pressure, but again can't quite do it. So almost a repeat of the attempted move we saw earlier on, and he does get close, but he's got Matt Bird right behind him as well, the fastest man so far on track. Matt Bird explores the outside line there and he's putting Heslop under pressure. So this is a super race between these 3, and dare I say that the safety car has brought this about, because it was looking relatively settled up to that point. The safety car comes out and then all of a sudden everybody's close again, and it's going to change the psychology of the race and therefore the dynamic for these 3 drivers. Ben McLaughlin hasn't affected him. He's got away and into the closing stages leading this one, but the trio circulating for 2nd position. It's got the hallmarks of a fascinating end to race 5 in the 2019 championship. McLaughlin in front, and it's still Josh Morris, one of a few drivers from the championship that raced yesterday with the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, running as Class 3, but not scoring championship points to that, and not for this either, but just getting some track time. It took the grid up to pretty much capacity here on the Indy circuit. So great racing for the fans to see as Will Heslop again has a look. He's on the outside line here as they come down into Graham Hill Bend. This might carry him more speed along Cooper Straight and into McLaren. Josh Morris in car with the second place, but it looks coolly across and up the inside line goes Will Heslop into P2. He did get more momentum out of Graham Hill Bend along the straight, and now we've got Matt Bird challenging for third place as well. So Josh Morris is really under pressure big time at the minute. Morris now in third, again looks in his mirror, very well aware of what's going on, Josh Morris. But it's Will Heslop up to second. We've got a great race going on there with Simon Ruffle-Ward looking to try and pass Sam Beckett in the Wilmslow car. Leeds versus Wilmslow there. Ben McLaughlin still out front though. Will Heslop in second place, and look at Matt Bird trying to get that 35 car up onto the podium. Looks to the outside line. He's tucking on the inside of the exit at Druids. That converts to the outside at Graham Hill Bend. But if you get that right, as we saw Will Heslop do, you can get a good run along Cooper Straight. All of these guys very mindful of track limits, again through qualifying. And, well, there was one, I think, in qualifying, or maybe two, but certainly in this race we've had no reporting of any drivers exceeding track limits, and that's always the bugbear here. Everyone says in motorsport in general, but certainly at Brands Hatch tends to be a little bit of an issue at the bottom of Graham Hill Bend, but nobody's contravened that, so it just goes to prove that the drivers can do it, and these guys showing more experienced drivers the way round and how to do it, so well done to them. As we're on the last lap now, and it looks like Ben McLaughlin is going to take win number 5. Sam Beckett was there in the 21 car, and again an attack on the outside line by Matt Bird, who's got his nose in front, but that's not going to be the case as they go around Druids. Gets a little bit snaky coming out there. He's certainly got the speed, and he's putting big pressure on Josh Morris, who is gamely holding on to third place at the moment. The 35 car will have a look at the inside line, which is covered by Morris. I think they touch slightly as well as they go along the straight into Surtees. There's the leader, McLaughlin in yellow, Heslop in the pink pig, and then this titanic scrap for third place. Now can the 35 car of Matt Bird get a run out of Clark Curve onto the Brabham straight? That run now being done by the race leader and winner, Ben McLaughlin. There's the checkered flag there. McLaughlin wins, Heslop second. Josh Morris takes third place ahead of Matt Bird. Paul Blakesley dropped away from those a little bit, but gets another fine 5th position. Well, superb racing, and Simon Ruffle-Ward got the better of Sam Beckett in the closing stages. There is Simon crossing the line with Sam Beckett next up. 5 out of 5, an extended championship lead for Ben McLaughlin, who takes the win from Will Heslop, Josh Morris and Matt Bird. Paul Blakesley 5th from Simon Ruffle-Ward and Sam Beckett. Julian Morris 8th, then Ashley White and Carl Hazelton in 10th. 11th goes to Scott Adams. Fastest lap to the 4th position driver, Matt Bird. Let's go down and talk to the winners.
Ben, congratulations, still unbeaten, and pole position and another win.
Yes, pole position and another win, but they're getting closer and closer, aren't they? They really are, which is great to see, as I said, at all the other rounds. We've now got a little bit of extra weight in the car, which we're really feeling, especially with the brakes and the tyres just starting to go off. And then obviously Will got past whichever car into second place, and he was actually catching. And I was on it, I was as fast as I could go, and he's catching. So I think we might have a really close race in the next one.
Will, third, second place of the season for you, 4th for that car. Tell us about the race. I think it was a late-ish move, 2 minutes remaining to get second, but a good move.
Yeah, I mean, the safety cars kept us all bunched up, of course. I felt a little bit stronger coming down there, and I made one half move before, and I thought, I think if I can get a good enough exit and clean enough, Josh ran just a little bit wide, and he just had a little bit of a wiggle when he come back on, and that allowed me just to have a little bit more pace just to pip him and get the move done cleanly before we went into the corner, so I was really happy with that.
Josh, congratulations, third place. Great to see you back because you were champion last year. Ben wasn't in the standings last year, and you took that. So how good is it to be back in?
Oh yeah, it's really good to be back out racing. Car's obviously a bit different with the JRZ suspension, so you can carry a lot more speed through the corners, and it's nicely set up. So
obviously last year we saw you have some races with Will, so you must get to know and respect each other.
Yeah, correct. I think the respect has grown. It's my first time back out this season. I think he's been in the car one weekend before, but yeah, no, there's a lot of respect there between the two drivers, so that's good.
Simon, cracking racing race 1. Tell us about your involvement with the team. How did you get involved as driver?
We were asked initially just to say why we'd actually want to do this. So I just basically wrote down what I wanted to do and why I thought I deserved a drive. And from that, they picked me to give it a go. Not proving any driving skills whatsoever. It's just good, clean racing. Yeah, everybody's having a whale of a time. I just hope it carries on because it's absolutely brilliant.
Steve, great to see you back out ready for race 2, but just talk us through what happened in the early one.
Yeah, so first race, I was really happy with my position. I was right on the back of number 5, so in 6th position. There was a decent gap between me and the car behind. Just came into the first corner and for some reason just lost the back end. Managed to correct it, but just went the other way and just lost it. But such a shame. I was having a great race, really comfortable with the car, it felt brilliant. But it's just one of them things. But managed to get out again for race number 2, so we'll be happy with that.
Great thing about this championship, we've got a lot of new drivers to motorsport. What's your background?
Well, this is my first year doing this, but always loved cars, always been a big fan of cars. Obviously, we prepared the Pink Pig last year, so we've been coming along last year to watch everybody race. So to get involved this year is just fantastic for me.
Another iconic livery and very well prepared, if I may say so.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Matt, cracking race in race 1, just off the podium, but fastest lap. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean the pace is definitely there in the car, and I mean yeah, it feels fantastic. So hopefully we can just improve on 4th this time, fewer safety cars and clean race.
I saw you first time out at Donington Park. Is this a car that needs to be learned?
Probably to get the very best from it. When you look at what Ben's doing, but actually it's really really friendly and approachable. And the guys at PPS have done a really good job. We've changed the pads and the fluid from then to now, and it's really helped with brake pedal feel. And yeah, car feels fantastic.
And championship as a whole, your thoughts so far?
Do you know what? I've not thought that far ahead. We're going race by race. I'm keeping this lovely car in one piece, and then we'll see where we are from there.
Whilst enjoying the racing, which is what Ben McLaughlin's doing at the moment. 1 win, double pole, looking for a double win. Alongside him is Josh Morris, then Matt Bird, a gap where Ollie Coles should have been. William Heslop 5th on the grid from Paul Blakesley. Row 4, Julian Morris and Stephen Shaw. Row 5, Mark McCulloch and Simon Ruffle-Ward. Then Sam Beckett and Scott Adams. Mark Duncan and Ashley White, followed by Cole Hazelton, who again starts at the back. Away we go. It's a good start. I'm surveying the whole grid and they've all made it away well, and Stephen Shaw makes a very good start and he's up challenging for 3rd position. So great start from Stephen Shaw, and it's Ben McLaughlin leading from Josh Morris in 2nd place. William Heslop is 3rd, and Stephen Shaw looking down the outside line as they go up in towards Druids. That's the Rothmans livery, the man we spoke to in the holding area just before the race. And he's dropped back a little bit and having a race there with the Gulf livery of Julian Morris, who's on the outside line in car number 10. They're followed by Alistair Nelson. I'll update you on the point situation, which I hasten to add is by my mathematics, and we can't expect the championship coordinators to tell us the points after each race because things do get a bit complicated, but I try and do the sums myself, and I think we've got some interesting scenarios ensuing at the moment. But coming up towards the end of lap number 1, Ben McLaughlin is the race leader. There is Matt Bird now up into P2. Josh Morris is 3rd. William Heslop is in 4th. So those guys fiercely competitive. Then Paul Blakesley again with the front runners, but Ben McLaughlin stretching his legs here on lap 2 and starting to get away from Matt Bird, who qualified in 3rd place. Remember, Ollie Coles didn't come out for this one, had the damaged the Coca-Cola car, the Porsche Centre Swindon machine, badly damaged in the start of race number 1. Hopefully we'll see Ollie out for the next round of the championship. Remember, last year ran 3 rounds. This year we've got considerably more, but not so many that it makes it prohibitive for the centres to do. And again, they're racing with the Petro Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, sometimes in the grid depending on whether the circuit licence allows for it or not, but otherwise, like on the Indy circuit, we've got so many entries across all the classes, we have to separate them out this weekend, as William Heslop has a very good look there at Josh Morris. interesting, of course, I'd forgotten that since Josh raced the car last year, there were upgrades to the suspension. So he effectively, as a new driver, having to learn the car all over again, and it is good for these new recruits to motorsport that they get that learning experience. But for other newcomers coming in this year, as you heard Stephen Shaw say, he's a newcomer this year, they've got to adapt to more sophisticated machinery. But Stephen Shaw doing very well. Ben McLaughlin the leader. Second position is Matt Bird, and then this battle on for third place, as it was in race number 1 for second, and it's Josh Morris there at the moment. Made a good start. The very, very smooth style of Josh Morris. You can see this is the style that won him the championship last year. Looking very, very good indeed. There's Carl Hazelton. Now Carl, by my reckoning, was definitely fourth in the championship coming into the meeting, but now I reckon he's actually joint fifth with Ashley White and Wayne Minogue, because they outscored by points, so they're tied fifth on 119 points. But Simon Ruffle Ward jumped those two competitors, I reckon, into fourth place on 121 points. There is Simon in the Warsteiner livery, looking on the inside line of Mark McCulloch at the moment, with Stephen Shaw just in behind, and Will Heslop trying to get past Josh Morris again. The Pink Pig, which is the Wolverhampton Porsche Centre Wolverhampton car, as I said, won the fans' choice for the livery last year. The Body and Paint Award went to Premier Panel Skills and Porsche Centre Guildford last year, and very much not necessarily a bad rivalry, but good rivalry between all the centres in terms of preparation, as we watch the 55 car of Scott Adams, the man from Cardiff, an 11th place, so just one shy of another top 10 for him, but gaining more and more experience all the time, and cutting his lap times down, which is what a lot of the new drivers will aim to do over the course of the season. There is Simon Ruffle Ward up ahead of Mark McCulloch. I say Simon up to fourth in the championship by my standings, unless I've missed anyone out or miscalculated points from race 1. So that shared car, John Tordorf had a brace of top 10s in his first outing with us. That was at Donington Park, hence the 600 livery. And a little moment there for Sam Beckett in the 21 car. The Wilmslow machine has a gyration, 7th position in race number 1. If he recovers from that, he might be able to eke a top 10 out again. Was there contact on the back end? There was contact there by William Heslop on the back end of Josh Morris, who looking in his mirrors, and that's caused a problem for Will Heslop. That's such a shame for Will Heslop, and potentially for Josh Morris as well. Doesn't seem to be too much damage on the front end, but the car is not behaving itself at all now. And is that going to be a retirement for the 32 car? If so, it'll be the first retirement of the season. We've got the Wilmslow car off, Stephen Shaw as well. Did they have a coming together? Very possibly a half pirouette. They rejoin the track and will have work to do. The good news is behind there you can see Mark Duncan in the Porsche Centre Glasgow car. He's refettled after its exploits in race number 1, and Mark's doing some good laps here and looking to record his second finish of the season, having finished just outside the top 10. Donington Park, 11th place, and Ben McLaughlin goes into the gravel. There's obviously fluid down, and off as well goes the 35 car of Matt Bird, but Bird rejoins in the lead. Bird's got the lead. Josh Morris second, Ben McLaughlin was first on the scene, and he went further. I'd say that was a good reaction by James Woods, James sharing the car with Matt Bird. Great reaction by Matt Bird, but Ben McLaughlin saving grace here is that the safety car is coming out. So Josh Morris up to second, and Ben McLaughlin, there must have been fluid on the track there to have caught those 3 drivers out. And of course, Ben being the first one, there is also the train of thought that if one car goes off, that you can, if you're following them, instinctively follow them. But I'm sure there is a problem at paddock. We've got the safety car out once again, so a third safety car period in 2 races, and yeah, the slippery surface flag is there as well, so suspicions confirm that we do have fluid, and that is very possibly what caused the problem for Will Heslop as well. So Will's trio of second places this year ending in a retirement in this one on lap 6 of our race, which is a great shame. But everybody gets a period of reflection now with the safety car out, and Ben McLaughlin, you can see, trying to keep the heat in the tyres. What he doesn't know is how long he's got to do that for with the safety car. He'll get a clue from the safety car lights and also have a reconnaissance of the car that's off the circuit. The only one I can see off at the moment is William Heslop. The others are all still running, so it's a little bit of an upset championship-wise. Probably time that we can give you the championship points. Ben McLaughlin up to 190. William Heslop brought the Wolverhampton car up into, or continues in second position on 156 points. Safety car lights are out. We might possibly get a new second position man in the championship. And it depends where Paul Blakesley finished. He's the nearest runner on 132 points at the moment. And that was a very good restart by Matt Bird, who's got away. That was equal to the second safety car restart that we saw in race number 1 from Ben McLaughlin, who is going to put Josh Morris under pressure and goes to the outside line. No mucking about from McLaughlin, straight past at paddock. And bear in mind, that's going to be on relatively cold tyres right on the outside at paddock. What a move that was. I'd say for anybody watching at paddock, that was probably worth the admission. Super start. McLaughlin keen to negate the gap now that Matt Bird's got. So we may well see a fight between those two. There's Simon Ruffle-Ward chasing down the hill, and he is after Julian Morris at the moment. Julian running in 5th place, but it's Matt Bird the leader. Ben McLaughlin next up from Josh Morris, then Paul Blakesley, who's going to score well once again here, and that's a Porsche Centre Cambridge car. Top 3 of the championship, 105 points coming into the round, now up to 132, so breaking clear of the Chester and Nottingham cars as we head to the halfway point of this race. Welcome back to Brands Hatch, race 2 of the 3rd event of the season for the Classic Restoracing Championship runners. And we've got Simon Ruffle-Ward busy chasing Julian Morris. This is for 5th position. By my maths, we will without a doubt see the Bournemouth car of Ben McLaughlin continue to lead the championship. The gap on the Wolverhampton machine is going to be closed up, but I think the Wolverhampton car, shared by Will Heslop and Christian Short, should remain in second place, but the Porsche Centre Cambridge car is, by my reckoning, closing in on points. There's the Glasgow car of Mark Duncan having a good run here. A little bit of gravel on the side of the car, but Mark, as you heard in our opening interview, learning his trade here, brand new to racing, competing against himself really to try and get the lap times down, which he's done with aplomb here. There's the Cambridge car. Paul Blakesley sharing with James Cannon over the course of the season. That running in 3rd position in the championship, and assuming things stay the way they are, will remain in 3rd, but close to the 2nd place Wolverhampton car. The Porsche Centre Bolton machine, as I've mentioned, shared by Mike Thompson, driven today by Josh Morris, is going to move up into 4th position in the championship. Again, that's by my calcs, and subject to confirmation once the race finishes, assuming we don't get any more retirements. But super race going on here with the chasing car of Ashley White, the 46 Porsche Centre Nottingham machine, chasing the Leeds car of Simon Ruffle-Ward, who got that car up into 4th position in the championship, but I think because of Bolton's performance here will drop to 5th, as Josh Morris had a good pair of races, the former champion, running very well indeed. But this is what this racing is all about. We've got newcomers racing here all together and really learning it now. And up the inside line looks Ashley White to try and find his way through. That car incidentally on the podium last time out, with Wayne Minogue grabbing a brace of podia, so a proven car, as Simon Ruffle-Ward continues to put the pressure on the Elite Motors car of Julian Morris. Julian's best result so far this year, a 5th place on the Grand Prix circuit here, as Ben McLaughlin continues to chase Matt Bird, but Bird has the fastest lap again, as he did in race number 1, and he's clear of Ben McLaughlin. I guess that Ben was going to be beaten at some time, but got caught out by the oil at Paddock Hill Bend. Both of the lead cars went through the gravel. Josh Morris managed to nip through into second and then lost out on the restart very quickly to the impressive Ben McLaughlin, who sailed round the outside. It was a superb move, and we got some great racing going on here as well between these three. Mark McCulloch at the back of the little bit of drift at the moment, the fourth of these cars, wants to get involved in the race as Ashley White looks to the outside line at Druids, will tuck back in. I'll tell you what, McCulloch's getting back into it. It's Mark McCulloch from Carl Hazelton, the next car in 9th place in the Chester car as this trio goes along Cooper Straight once again. And at the moment, Julian Morris looking relatively comfortable and heading for another 5th place as he did on the Grand Prix circuit here. So that was race 1 on the GP circuit, and our second event. Mixed weekend we had there. It was blazing hot 1 minute and then some torrential rain, and you don't really want that any racing, particularly with Porsches. There is Josh Morris, 3rd place. A little bit of a lonely time again, but always good to see the onboard from Josh because he has got that smooth style, as I've mentioned before. Best lap for him, 56.3. Matt Bird's best lap, 54.8. And Ben McLaughlin, there is Matt Bird, the race leader. And closing up on Mark Duncan at the moment as we go back to Morris, Ruffle, Ward, White and McCulloch all dicing hard. Stephen Shaw trying to close down as well on Sam Beckett. Stephen Shaw in 11th after that superb start that he did. The others are going to be watching his start technique, I think, for sure. So had a very good run into Paddock Hill Bend and up to Druids on the first lap as the trio dicing for 5th go across the line. Here's Mark Duncan again. Mark running in 13th position at the moment and goes along Cooper Straight. He will have one eye on the mirrors because the leader is busy catching him, Matt Bird, and Matt's going to go past. Fastest lap for Matt, lap 19, 54.865. I tell you what, Mark McCulloch is closing in now. The Porsche Centre Hatfield Martini livery car is closing in on Ashley White, and we're going to see now a 4-way battle for 5th position. This is very close indeed. Catching's one thing, passing, as the cliche goes, is very much another. This is the 4th place car ahead of the quartet, Paul Blakesley, who's got a little bit of ground over the 5th position man at the moment. Ben McLaughlin still in 2nd. The lead positions, you have to say, at the moment look relatively settled. Ben's trying to close in, but to no avail at the minute with all that extra ballast, remember, on the 86 car. He's going to retain the championship lead, the Porsche Centre Bournemouth machine. And I'll tell you what, any other championship, if you think about 5 wins in a second, that's pretty good. Ben's going to be a little bit disappointed though with that off and the oil being down. But Matt Bird is going to be the first non-Ben McLaughlin race winner here, assuming he doesn't have any problems. A flash of the lights for Josh Morris. A little bit impatient maybe, Josh. Now the difficult thing there for Mark Duncan is that the track goes left and then right and then continue right. So if you're a driver who's being approached by traffic, what do you do? Which side do you go? I think, to be fair, Josh was hoping to try and maybe close up on Ben McLaughlin, but he made it through safely, so fair play to Mark, who did stick to his guns there, and ultimately no problem with him going through. Here's the scrap for 5th place, still Julian Morris at the head of this. Julian, one of the in fact Julian and Josh Morris both were in the races yesterday, so have had a little bit more track time than some of the other drivers, but who can blame them as Matt Bird continues on his way. 54.865 his lap time. Simon Ruffle Ward getting stuck in and having a look, and Matt Bird's time incidentally quicker than yesterday's fastest lap, and he's into the last 1.2 miles on the Indy circuit here at Brands Hatch, and clear by a margin of very nearly 5 seconds at the moment over Ben McLaughlin, so it's probably a fait accompli for him. Simon Ruffle Ward, as we saw in the closing stages of race 1, is eager to make up another place, and he was starting to have a look there at Julian Morris, who's running in 5th place, but he's got Ashley White right with him as well, and Ashley taking a wide line there. That would normally be quite good, but the car not looking too happy as it came out of McLaren into clearways. So I don't think he's going to get the slingshot down onto the Brabham straight to make a move. First and second. Here's the second place car. First one, the purple and green machine of Matt Bird in the Premier Panel Skills car, which is going to rack up his and the team's first win in this championship. Coming down to the checkered flag, Matt Bird takes the win, and it's still around about 5 seconds. Ben McLaughlin second, Josh Morris is going to take third. And to see that, we're going to ride on board with Josh down towards the checkered flag to complete the podium. Here is Josh, look at that, he's so cool. A hand clap as he crosses the line, he's happy with that. Josh Morris third, but Matt Bird takes his first win of the championship. Remember, that car shared with James Woods. What about this four-way scrap that we saw earlier on? It is still with Julian Morris from Simon Ruffle Ward. Ashley White goes wide again at clearways, try and get a little bit of a run through Clark Curve and down the Brabham Straight, which is where the checkered flag is now for Julian Morris, who will finish in 5th. Confirmation of the result. Matt Bird also retained the fastest lap there with a 54.865. Outside the top 10, Stephen Shaw in 11th from Scott Adams and Mark Duncan. Non-starter Ollie Coles, non-finish William Heslop.
Matt, many congratulations. First win in the championship.
Yeah, it's a turn up, isn't it? I wasn't expecting that. I don't know what happened at Paddock Hill. Ben went straight on, thank you. And I couldn't do anything about it. I assume it was some oil or something, and then it went. And then the restart was better, and I think Josh was a bit slower off the restart. Ben kept him occupied for a bit, and I just tried to get away as quick as I could. And got a few good laps in, and here we are. I didn't want to look at the clock. I just kept going until there was a flag and hoped that Ben didn't get any quicker. So, yeah, really happy.
And fastest lap as well, so well done on that too.
Really? Oh, well, that's good news. I was trying, so I just wanted to get away from Ben, so that works.
Ben, very dramatic race. Second position, one place gained back after the safety car though.
Yep. I can't complain. I'm on the podium. I've had a win and a second today, so it's been great. Yeah, I was the first on the scene to the water. Apparently, I was told then oil, and we fell off at Paddock here. And Matt followed me, who was right behind me, followed me into the gravel trap, and we bumped into each other. So such a shame, really, a bit of damage on the car. I'm looking at it now. I think it'll polish out, but the pool accident repair will do a great job, and Porsche Centre Bournemouth will get the car back into one piece. I was struggling with the gearbox as well, so I think there's quite a lot of gravel around the back of the car where the gearbox linkage is. It must be disturbing that. But there we go, that's racing for you. We came out in third out of the gravel trap, didn't we? Because of course Josh passed, and then I managed to get him at the restart, which was really important. But I couldn't stay with Matt. You know, I'm a bit heavier. He's a fast driver, and I'm a little bit heavier than him. He definitely had the pace on me today. So we'll see about the next one.
Josh, another race punctuated by safety car, but another good podium.
Yeah, good podium for us. We're happy with third for the team. So we're on it today. We had the pace. Halfway through the race, I wasn't switched on with the car, and then as it got nearer to the end, I started putting in faster lap times, so I started getting back used to the car setup and everything. As I say, I've not been in it this year, so first time out this weekend. Sort of took me a couple of goes to dial back into the car, but halfway through that, I just got switched onto it, and there's a lot more grip in the car.
How are you for later rounds? Is it yourself back or your teammate back?
Mike Thompson's out at Snetterton in, I think it's 3 weeks' time, and then myself will be doing Oldham Park at the end of the season for us, so that should be good.
The Porsche Centre Bournemouth machine of Ben McLaughlin leads the championship from the Wolverhampton pairing, William Heslop and Christian Shaw. Third position in the table, Porsche Centre Cambridge, with Paul Blakesley and James Cannon.
So two fantastic races here at Brands Hatch in the Classic Restoracing Championship, with great battling up and down the order. We're anticipating more of the same next time as we head to the high-speed Snetterton circuit. Be sure to join us then.